Happy Friday. I'm John Dowling, author of Service by the Boxes. I wanted to, first off, I wanted to apologize for the mess. We're in the middle of deer hunting season here in Texas. So my kids love to hunt. They've got five already. So we've been pretty busy cleaning deer this last week. So but I can tell you, I am very appreciative of my kids being great shots. I like it when it's one shot, one kill, and they drop the deer in their tracks. That makes my job a lot easier. Um, I had a conversation with a dealer here recently, and we were talking about issues that he has in his service department in trying to increase the throughput. Um, you know, that's what every business wants. We increase throughput, increase cash flow, increase profitability. And so we're having these conversations of exactly what we needed to address within his dealership. And then I asked him a question: how do you account for your hours? You told me your recovery rate is X, and how many of basically, how are you calculating that number? And he's like, I don't know. It's just the number that I have. So then I asked him, well, do you have two different systems? Do you have a payroll system to pay your technicians, and do you have a system to account for hours for work orders? And he says, yes, we have two different systems. So then I asked him, well, how do you reconcile those two different systems? Then I talked to him about the way that we calculate our recovery rate. Basically, what we're looking for, we want to see how many payroll hours, how many hours are we purchasing from the technician? How many of those hours, what percentage of those hours are we billing out to the customer? And of course, the industry standard is 85%. If you're close to 85%, or you can hit 85%, great. If you can get above 85%, like that's awesome. Congratulations, you're doing a great job. But this is the thing. If we're not accounting for the hours, your payroll hours, none of your numbers make any sense. None of your numbers will make sense. We have to ensure that we are accounting for the payroll hours that we're paying our technicians to be successful, to be profitable, to have good cash flow, everything. It comes down to that little thing of accounting for hours. So this is where people struggle with service. People struggle with service because they don't understand what they're selling. A service department is selling an hour. Now, before I go too far, we have no problem, and it's easy to comprehend. So here's my Kubota RTV. And if you're a Kubota dealer or you sell side-by-sides, you understand that you purchase this from the manufacturer, and then you account for it in your system, your business system, and then when you sell it, you sell this particular whole good to the end user. And similarly with parts, right? You buy an X number of parts from the manufacturer, you enter them into your inventory, and you track that. And when you sell that one part, say part X, you take it out of inventory and you put it on a counter ticket or a work order. So it goes into the cost of goods sold GL account, and you account for that cost of goods sold when you sell it to your customer. So that same principle that we use in the parts department and that we use in the whole goods department should also be used in the service department. The service manager is an asset manager. The service manager is managing one of the most critical assets or products that a dealership has, which is time, which is an hour. And to be successful in the service department, or for a service manager to be successful, he must be able to manage his inventory of hours very efficiently and accurately. He needs to know how many hours am I paying for, how many hours am I buying from my technicians, and where are those hours going. In the way that we enter an hour into our inventory of hours is they must be applied to a work order. So if you have two different systems, you have a payroll system for your technicians and you have your business system for your technicians, you have to develop a reconciliation process. This should be an accounting function. The accounting department should be keeping track of how many payroll hours is the service department paying out and what percentage of those hours are being applied to a work order or being billed out to a work order. 100% of those payroll hours should be applied to a work order. So if you're paying a technician, so if you have like holiday pay, you need a holiday work order, that those hours go to that holiday work order. So you know that X number of hours went to holiday pay and it went to that work order. We have to be able to account for every single hour that we buy from the technician, right? And before you think I'm crazy and think, well, I have to have an unapplied work order and a clean the shop work order, an unbillable time work order, and a holiday work order, and a training work order. Yes, we have to keep track of all those hours. Unless you want to lose money. And most people lose money in the service department, or at least they're not making the money that they should. Now, would you be okay with your parts manager saying, well, I'm only going to keep track of 85% of my parts? What about your whole goods inventory manager? And he says, well, I'm only going to keep track of 90% or 75% of our inventory, and we'll just hope for the best. No, we wouldn't do that. You would fire the inventory manager. You would fire your parts manager in a heartbeat if they could not keep track of the inventory. So once again, the service manager is responsible of keeping an accurate account for their hour inventory. Every hour a technician is paid must be accounted for. If you can't account for your technician's hours, then who knows what your recovery rate is? Right? Who knows why you're not losing, or who knows why you're losing so much money? It could be because we're just not billing the hours that we should be billing out. You may find out that the technician you think does a really good job when you start accounting for every hour of theirs. You may realize they may not be as efficient as you think they are. But I just say that to highlight how important it is. You must keep track of every hour. If you need help with this, or you want to discuss this, leave comments below. If you're watching on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. But leave a comment below. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, leave a comment below or a question that you have about best practices on accounting for your technician's hours. Or feel free to call me or visit my website, servicebytheboxes.com. Have a great weekend. If you're a hunter, go kill a lot of deer this weekend, and then go to church and thank God for the great creation that he's given us. Have a great weekend.